Welcome back to Key Talk Media. This your host, Key Talk. Check it out, man. All right. So, Key Talk Society, y'all have been doing a great job of getting us up on the algorithm because some reason YouTube got us down on the algorithm. Absolutely insane. It's okay. We're going to work hard as we can to get it back up. So, I need y'all to make sure y'all like the video for me to continue our success. Anyway, so we got a few topics we're going to talk about today. Now, previously, I made a video on the Muslim gang versus, well, the Blood gang members going against the Muslim gang members. And I had some people that reach out and pretty much say, hey, well, us Muslims in here, we're not a gang. So it's not necessarily that I'm calling the Muslims inside a jail a gang. I'm just saying when the world looks at prison and they see the Muslims and they see the Bloods at war killing each other, they just look at it all as gang banging. They include everything as one as gang, right? But even more a deeper dive into exactly what's actually happening with the Blood gang and the Muslim, that's, why the gang war is actually happening. As far as staff being cut, all type of stuff like that. We're going to look at the inner workings inside of the actual prison. And y'all going to be able to see, okay, so this is why this is happening. The officers are quitting within their first 2-3 months of working there. Why are they quitting? So we'll look at that. But first, we're going to start out with something. Now, we do know that a rapper that goes by the name of Zillionaire Doe just got signed as CMG. If you don't know who CMG is, obviously that's Yo Gotti now, right? Now, not only did he get signed as CMG, but Yo Gotti actually just came out and made a big update and pretty much said that he will be moving CMG's headquarters to none other than Dallas, Texas, right? Yeah, it's busy out here in Dallas right now, something about. But anyway, so if we take a look at this together, obviously that's Yo Gotti, that's Montana 700. There was a picture, of course, Zillionaire Doe's in this picture somewhere too. It just kind of like when you take the picture, it kind of cuts a lot of stuff out. However, the main focal point about this is just letting everybody know that Yo Gotti actually came in his picture and he said CMG office coming soon, and he's placing it inside of Dallas, Texas. Now, of course, man, it's popping in Dallas, Texas right now. You got the new Dallas going on. You got the drill rappers in Dallas going on. That's hot right now. A lot of them are getting signed. And with CMG coming down to Dallas, you already know that he probably got his eyes on signing some more Dallas artists. And the connectivity inside of Dallas right now is just so well that people is trying to work more together rather than beefing with each other. But we already know anytime there's some good stuff going on, there's always going to be some people on the outside that don't quite get to get in the mix. And they kind of, they typically cause trouble and issues. But as of right now, it's all looking good. And of course, you see the people in the comment section. If we get to the comment section about the CMG probably finna sign more Dallas artists, the first comment, as you can see, it says Dallas stock jumping. It's definitely jumping right now. Good move for Dallas. A good spot for any corporate business. Definitely. You got downtown Dallas popping right now. You got a whole lot of corporations and businesses that's actually moving their businesses down to Dallas right now as well. So it's a whole lot of stuff that's really going on inside of Dallas right now. Long Live Mo3 and Dolph. Of course, you got people in the comment section that's still putting the Dolph emoji, still saying that Dolph this, Dolph that. But of course, this is the thing, right? Sadly, Dolph is gone, right? However, the fact that CMG will put their headquarters in Dallas and they're helping out Dallas artists, y'all better believe that Yo Gotti and any of his CMG members will be protected inside of Dallas. I'm talking about period. Why? Because he's helping out the city of Dallas. Now, in Memphis is another story. I don't know about all that I'm talking about, but I'm just saying in Dallas, as far as Dallas goes, right? The next comment says, y'all trying to go new Dallas for real. I'm sticking with the old Dallas. Do your homework, because we not ATL, Cali, New York, Chicago, all these other places. None of that stuff. This Triple D, and we stand on big morals, values, respect, business, and education. Ain't no signing deals to get put on. Make your own way with your own people. Okay. I see what Buddy trying to say, I'm talking about, but this is what I will say. Yes, Dallas, Texas, period, is just known for its artists, like not really signing no big deals and just putting themselves on and just having all their money and all that stuff like that, right? Slim Thug actually came out and said, hey, listen, man, the reason I own all my masters, I'm able to still live on my rap, is because I ain't let the white people take my money. Get my product, have exclusive rights to my product, and just sign my life away so I could look popping temporarily. But hey, man, listen, let's just hope for the best and say that these artists is now getting signed ain't doing that either. Let's just say they're signing good deals. Let's just say they had entertainment lawyers to look over the contracts before they signed it, and that's what's happened, right? And I ain't just gonna look at this and just hope for the worst. It seemed like Buddy right here is seeing like the worst and the evil side of it. But hey, man, let's look at the good side of it. Let's just see what this brings to Dallas. Dallas. You know what I'm talking about? Because, I mean, he said we stand on big morals. Who say they're not standing on morals? Values. They actually are showing values because they're saying together and unitness, right? They're saying like, text us, and not text this, but text us, like us together, New Dallas, about being together, right? Respect. I see respect, and I see good business moves happening too. A lot of these boys had a lot of paper before they even got signed and everything. You know, I'm talking about education, and of course, education gonna come with it. Everybody ain't got no high school diplomas as well as college degrees and stuff like that, but it's a growing process. So. But as far as like signing deals stuff like that, yeah, you maybe got a little point on that part. But hey, man, we're gonna see how it all goes, and we ain't gonna worry about the bad, man. We just gonna hope for the best on that. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, now aside from Yo Gotti actually planning on coming to Dallas, before we get to the inner workings of the jail of the whole Georgia issue that's going on with, like I said, the wars that's going on between the Bloods and the Muslims, we actually got there's a video of Shell Kel that came out. Now, Shell Kel, of course, is a YFN member. And if we know anything about YFN, them boys been solid. You know what I'm talking about? When I say them boys been solid, they ain't really been doing no snitching or nothing like that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, of course, YSL crew, when people say YSL, they think that a whole lot of snitching been going on. Well, I think a whole lot of snitching has been going on. We know YFN Lucci refused to take the stand. And we know, as far as that goes, people is waiting on YFN to get out, which should be this month, because Sauce Walker did say he had like something going on in Splash Town where, hey man, listen, he won't give him the red carpet, anything he won't because he stays silent. You know what I'm talking about? But anyways, I'm gonna show y'all this audio footage of YFN Shell Kel, because Buddy stays silent inside the interrogation room, and people always say, hey man, the silent niggas don't ever get rewarded. The silent niggas don't ever get rewarded. They should. Well, listen, man, this is y'all time to in the comment section to give him his salutes and his shout outs. You know what I'm talking about? Let me go ahead and play this video for y'all. Hold on, let me actually see if I can get inside the headphone. I might have to pause y'all for a little bit. Hold up. All right, let me make this a little bigger for y'all so we can get in the motion.
We're gonna have some more tonight.
What kind?
You're gonna have a warrant for criminal attempt to commit robbery, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm by convicted felon. So what that's gonna stem from is the incident back in at Hank Aaron. So I don't know if you want to talk to us about that. Where I saw you in the hospital, you were in pretty bad shape. I don't know if you remember, I came up there to see you, and you looked out the window at me, but you were in pretty bad shape when I came up there to see you. So you know what incident we're referring to?
Get me to the jail.
Even with allegedly getting beat on or whatever it may be, being in bad shape, like they said, he still ain't doing no snitching. You know what I'm talking about? They staying silent inside the room, and they gonna try to play with him a little bit more, just see if he gonna do some snitching then, and he still ain't doing no type of snitching.
Get me to the jail, man.
You want to talk about that else?
Yeah,
Is there anywhere that you want to be placed in the jail that you feel comfortable, feel safe in the jail?
no, I'm good.
So you good? So anywhere, put you anywhere in the jail?
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. We just want to make sure, because there's a lot going on down in the jail.
Come on, man.
But listen, you ain't been doing that good since you got home.
I know.
So I'm concerned about you in the jail. That's why I'm asking. This is a legitimate concern. You got Shannon in there. You got a lot of folks in there that I'm concerned about. So that's why I'm asking you. Is there anybody that you need to stay away from?
No.
Okay.
Sure. Like, for it, we really concerned me on when that bad happened to you. When you hurt now.
I made sure nothing bad happened to you the first
Like
time.
that call onto the house like one. You don't have to say nothing to no deputy saying anything.
No, I'm good. So, I appreciate y'all being concerned.
You have any questions for us?
No.
Other than this? Okay. You are going to have some more tonight.
Anyway, so as y'all can see, Buddy ain't doing no type of snitching, no type of telling, and like I said, give Buddy his love and his support and all that stuff that y'all say the real niggas supposed to get in the comment section below, because it's definitely in my comment section on Key Talk Media on my Instagram. Buddy got a lot of love, you know what I'm talking about? As you can see inside the first comment right here, it says YFN was definitely built different than YSL, and they got like 142 likes because obviously, hold on, whenever something come up about YSL, people do, talking about translate that to a whole lot of snitching and telling, talking about. But of course, with YFN, they see that as more like silentness that's actually happening. Now, if you scroll down, of course, stood on 10, Lucci on his way home. Let's go. Everyone, this your favorite rap. Everyone send this to your favorite rapper. We pretty much saying that everybody else be snitching. But either way it go, man, listen, that's all we're going to talk about as far as that situation, that topic go. I ain't trying to spend too much time on it, but I definitely want y'all to know about it. But we really got to get into, which is the meat and potatoes of this actual video. We got to figure out what's in the blue hell is going on inside the judicial side, the business side, or the side where the guards are supposed to be there, as far as the inside workings of this whole the Bloods and the Crips, I mean not the Crips, the Bloods and the Muslims and all that stuff. There's something going on inside the jail. The business side is supposed to be handled, it's not being handled, and that's actually assisting in why these guys are unaliving and killing each other, right? Because people telling me the guards are sometimes just be watching. The guards ain't trying to get involved in all that and get they self killed or something like that, which is understandable, but at the same time, that is the job that you actually sign up for. So of course you got to live by, right? Anyway, so shout out to George Chitty, because he actually did it's called the Atlanta Objective with George Chitty, right? It says Kemp finally gets the prison problem. Enough dead bodies have piled up on the governor's watch for him to spend money on a problem that wins no one votes for solving. So this is pretty much saying, hey, listen, bro, nobody cares about the prisoners inside of these jails, right? It's just the fact that now he's going to actually spend money to try to solve it because, there's no votes, there's nothing for solving. He's just going to try because enough dead bodies have actually happened, right? Which means they haven't been caring about the people inside of this prison system, especially inside of Georgia. Now, I want y'all can relate what I'm about to read to a lot of prisons around the United States, really, right? So this is what they're saying is happening. It says, Georgia prison system has been getting people killed in Georgia football score numbers since the start of the pandemic. A year in, the Georgia Department of Corrections stopped making announcements when someone died. Hold on, bro. It says the Georgia Department of Corrections stopped making announcements when someone died. Consider the death of Alonzo Wright, and I did the video on Alonzo Wright. If you don't know who Alonzo Wright was, go look at the video. Alonzo Wright's death, which was a big major cause of the Bloods, and also what they're saying was a big cause and a push on the Bloods and of course the Muslims that was actually fighting. Alonzo Wright last week, a gang murder at Jenkins Correctional Facility that set off a retaliatory violence and prompted lockdowns across at least 3 prisons in Georgia. A Department of Corrections, not a word until someone called the department to ask. A murder in a Georgia prison used to be rare enough and significant enough to prompt statewide news. Now it's treated as just another Sunday night. And yet, a report by consultants from Guidehouse, commissioned by state government leaders, recommends, among other things, that the DOC engage with media and community to help repair communities' perception of facilities at the local level. What this is telling me so far is they just don't care about these people at all. They're already in there, so let them just kill each other. It says, good luck. You can start by letting me look inside and talk to people in prison there. I'll link to the full 245-page report at the end. But the findings plus the starkly obvious indifference of Kemp, of course, Kemp is the guy that has the power to assist with all this. I believe Kemp is he maybe the mayor of of Georgia, or not? Let me actually double check that for you. I want to see who is Kemp, because we're going to be reading a lot about Kemp, who's actually, like I say, he may not be the mayor, but he definitely has some control over what goes on. And he could definitely assist and be able to actually help this out, right? Anyway, so yes, Kemp is actually the governor of Georgia. So I'm going to continue reading that, right? So it says, I'll link the full 245 report at the end. But the findings plus the starkly obvious indifference of Kemp and legislative leaders to the death of hundreds of Georgia residents on their watch prompted Kemp to ask for $372 million in additional investment into prison repair, staff salary increases, and investigative resources over the next 2 years. So now he's asking for that money, talking about to put into the actual prison system, because so many people is actually dying, right? So it continues and it says, I asked for the report referenced in the governor news release because I believed it might have some stark details akin to what emerged from the U.S. Department of Justice report in October. The report ended with the threat by outraged feds threatening to sue the state unless Georgia cleaned its prison system. So this is literally saying the feds is mad at the state of Georgia because their prison system is so terribly bad that everybody's dying in it. This is what I want y'all to understand. This is not just about the Georgia prison system. This is probably prisons all over the United States, but we're focusing on the Georgia system right now because it's just so rampant, right? I just covered the whole Alonzo Wright situation. It's just rampant, a whole lot of murders and bodies, and everybody's dying. Nobody's caring, right? It says, I may be the only reporter who has pulled the Gatehouse report. I'm not seeing any reporting on it. The consultant's report is more sanitized than a DOJ report, probably because the folks who commissioned it didn't want the obvious institutional abuses published where I can see it, but it's still bad. So now listen to this. In 2014, the Department of Corrections employed 6,383 correctional officers. In 2024, which is 10 years later, it employs 2,776. It says the system contains slightly fewer prisoners now than it did in 2014. A 4% decrease to about 49,000 inmates. Staffing for COs is down 56%. So if y'all are wondering why a lot of the violence is happening inside the prisons, yes, the offenders be super violent. Yes, inside of jail, they got to stand on business. They got to kill it. They got to fight. They got to do all this stuff, right? But also the fact that it's understaffed, right? And it's not actually, there's no type of care been given to the prison system at all. And I'm not saying it should or shouldn't. I'm just telling y'all the details on what's actually happening and why, right? These are the details that you don't hear about. You just hear that they're in there killing each other. You don't hear much really at all, period, unless you're going to call home or something. But if you really want to know what's going on, we're about to dive deeper into it. It says the Gotti House team observation are tamer versions of those made by federal investigators who detailed a litany of violence abetted by ludicrously low staffing levels. The federal report gives a sense of the scale of the dysfunction with its description of one incident. So we're about to read about an incident, and this incident is because of the staffing was so low why this was allowed to happen, right? It says, shortly after DOG's visit to Ware, we learned that another man had interviewed there had died days later. On June 29, 2022, an interview at a Ware State Prison, an incarcerated person reported that he had gone almost a year without a mattress. That week he was blocked from going to the bathroom by another incarcerated person who chased him with a broom and a rock. He defecated in his pants. He described experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, said the GDC was worse than his time seeing comeback in the military. So this is a military agent, a former military man who's got post-traumatic stress syndrome, and he's in jail, ain't had a mattress for a year. Why? The guards don't know what in the blue hell is going on. Getting chased with a rock. He doo-dooed on his. The man done doo-dooed on himself. You know what I'm talking about? And then now listen what's about to happen, right? And explained that drugs are easy to acquire in a facility. 4 days after the interview, he died from a drug overdose. On July 3rd, 2022, an incarcerated person at work found himself slumped over a second-floor cell block railing. He was left there for several hours because there were no officers in the control center and staff failed to come to the building. Video shot by incarcerated people on a contraband cell phone showed this man apparently unconscious, body draped over an upper tier railing for an extended period of time. In the video, the individual holding the camera says, "We have an inmate here that is dead for the past 2.5 hours. It's crazy. This is crazy. The victim cause of death was acute methamphetamine toxicity." So hey man, listen, buddy got up out of there, and it's sad to say, but him getting up out of there and unaliving himself, well, not trying to, but unfortunately unaliving himself is probably better than the conditions that he's in. Whether he went to heaven or hell is probably better than the conditions inside of that jail, because in the prisons it's definitely hell, right? Anyway, so it continues and it says, according to the Guidehouse report, the most serious staffing shortages are also at the prisons with the highest security, containing the highest proportion of inmates in security threat groups, a term encompassing gang members. So when it says security threat groups, that literally means gang members, right? And requiring close supervision. A higher proportion of inmates today serve time on serious charges involving violence and are not eligible for sentence reductions for good conduct or completing the education and training. It says South Prison with 1,407 prisoners and in the highest security classification is authorized 153 correctional officers. It says it has 33. Hold up. So they have 1,407 prisoners at the Telfar State Prison, and it says they're authorized to have 153 correctional officers, but they only got 33. What in the blue hell is going on? That's why the feds look down at the state and like, hey, y'all need to fix y'all prison system, right? But it continues and it says that's a staffing rate of 21.6%. Put another way, there are 42 prisoners for every guard. This is part of the reason why it's so violent inside of the prisons. But nobody cares, right? Because the prisoners are just in there killing each other, dying. Nobody cares. When people hear about, oh, there's a gang war, the Muslims and the Bloods are at war with each other. And then whenever there's people that come out and say, hey, well, prisoners from the jail that are Muslim may come in and say, hey, well, Muslims isn't a gang. We're, we're about peace and this and this and that. But when people is hearing that there's a war and that they're killing each other and with some Bloods is dying and some Muslims, they may look at those Muslims over in the Middle East as like just the religious. But when they look inside the prisons, they see it as animals. They see it as this is just what the world sees it as, right? It's not even necessarily me just telling you what I see it as. This is what the overall majority of the world sees it all, the ones inside of prison at least, right? So let's continue. It says, there is no real accountability at the Georgia Department of Corrections because by and large, there's almost no one left to fire. Deputy wardens are all but impossible to replace. The governor has been firing senior leaders with great verve and increasing frequency. However, the DOC new page is a drum roll of announcements of new wardens and senior deputy wardens and little else. I note again in passing that Brian Adams, former warden of Smith State Prison, was arrested and charged with racketeering in connection to a murder investigation in 2022, and it probably had to do some inside of the jail, right? It says the podcast series Prison Town by a longtime friend Jessica gets at the absurd and infuriating backstory to this arrest. The prison system only hires about 1 in 8 applicants. About half of the applicants are scrubbed because they withdraw or non-responsive. Of those that remain, half again are denied for not showing for no showing interview or demonstrating clearly that they're unfit for the job at the interview. Now wait till y'all see what they say why some of the people is unfit to work at the prisons, right? And remember, the prisons are super understaffed, right? But just watch this. It says, or being able to pass a background check. In a 6-month period, 498 applicants failed the background check and 121 failed a pass through their social media. The Guidehouse report noted that significant number of applicants withdrew or were deemed unfit because the prison system refused to hire people who wear dreadlocks. What in the blue hell is going on? So you have people who may be perfectly fit to work at the prisons because they are understaffed and may be able to be some good security guards to potentially stop some of the people from dying and killing themselves because, yeah, they are killing themselves, right? Let's keep it all the way 100, be all the way real with it. They're in there killing each other and killing themselves, right? But some of the guards ain't able to work there because they have dreadlocks. It doesn't make any type of sense at all. But let's continue. It says, in case we're wondering about priorities here, about 3% of people who are actually hired quit or are fired on the first day. 3% of the people who are hired are actually hired quit or are fired on the first day of the job. About 1 in 6 people don't last a month, fewer than 1 in 5 last year. So again, I'm showing y'all the statistics on why in the blue hell are gang wars so prevalent inside of prisons, are deaths so prevalent inside of the prison, especially inside of Georgia right now, right? But like I said, this is what's going on. So this is the tenure of correctional officers leaving GDC. Tenure means how much they're working, right? It says time service at the GDC employee left. So terminated day of hire. So the first day, 76 totals, which is 2.9%. Less than a month, 362 quit. So 13.7% of the correctional officers are leaving GDC before even a month is up. In 1 in 3 months, it's 22.8%. 3 to 6 months, which is half a year, with a total of 585 people, 22.2% quit. Listen, by the time a year hit, 21% is already gone. Absolutely insane. Look, but look though, by that 3+ years, they already used to everything. You know what I'm talking about? They're gonna stick around and stay. Only 0.8% of them quit. But anyways, as we continue reading, it says, the rank to file deputy in a prison system stayed just long enough to get certified as a law enforcement officer, then goes looking for a better job. The entry level salary for a CO in highest security tier is $44,040. According to the report, a state trooper makes about $63,000. A game warden makes about $52,236. The average Atlanta area police department, all desperate for post-certified recruits, will pay at least $50,000. The retirement benefits offered to prison staff are a joke because almost no one sticks around long enough to even consider them. Nobody sticks around long enough in a prison system, as far as guards and stuff, to even get any type of benefits, right? Because they all quit. We saw within the first day, like 2.9% quit. Within the first like 6 months, was it like 22% of them quit? So these are the reasons why this is actually happening, right? But then again, who cares? Why? Because it's prisoners. Nobody cares about the prisoners. Not even so. The very fact that the prisoners are killing the very fact that the prisoners are killing each other, that actually shows that, okay, the prisoners might be killing each other, so why should we care about some people that's already actually killing each other? That's the look that people got. We're not going to get any votes. If we come and say, hey, if a political person or a governor, a future governor come and they take the stand, like, hey, I'm going to help out the world. I'm going to help you guys. I want to get this done. And also, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invest $500,000 inside the prison system so they can stop killing each other. They don't feel like they're going to get any extra votes for that because nobody cares. They believe, like, oh, let them do whatever they want to do. But let's continue reading it, right? And I'm just telling y'all how the world is looking at this, right? If we continue, it says, let me just go down here. It says, among ways gangs control prisons are, and now it's going to get into, hold on, wait, let me ask you. Okay, hold on. Okay. The retirement, okay, cool. Okay, that's about one every 3 months for every sworn officer in Georgia prison. During a riot in 2020, prisoners captured the prison staff and stabbed them. What in the blue hell is going on? Hell, the warden of Telfair State Prison got shanked in March, and that's why the people ain't trying to work there. They quitting, you know, within the first 6 months. But the Gatehouse report makes it clear that prison staff believe the state doesn't care. It continues and it says gangs effectively control several Georgia prisons from Gatehouse report. It says STGs continue to have a significant, so gangs continue to have a significant impact on GDC operations and contribute to violent incidents and contraband traffic. And of course, according to GDC data, 33.4, one of the total state prison population is undocumented STG. In some of the assessment sites, you know what? Let's skip this part and let's get to this. Among the ways gangs control prisons are selling the bed space to offenders. So the buddy didn't have his bed for a whole year. They probably kicked him out of his bed and sold his bed to somebody else. You know what I'm talking about? It says offenders resulted in some offenders sleeping on the floors, like I said, or in common areas instead of their assigned cells. The next, extorting family members to pay for protection of offenders while in custody. Hey, man, listen, you got somebody locked up and they calling you. Hey, man, you got that commissary? Hey, man, I need help with commissary. Hey, man, da-da-da-da. That's what that's about. You know what I'm talking about? The next one says using violence to collect debts related to the purchase of contraband, cell phones, and drugs. Pressuring female offenders to engage in actual acts recording on illegal cell phones that are sold to others. It says the videos collected by the Human Civil Rights Coalition of Georgia. They're the ones that gave me that story the other day that I actually reported on about the whole Alonzo Wright and the gang wars that's going on between the Bloods and the Muslims. Georgia tell the tale better than I can. Be warned that the word disturbing does not do the horror justice. Prisoners are using technology to defeat their imprisonment and terrorize others. Outside collaborators regularly use drones to drop contraband like drugs and cell phones to prisoners. Correctional officers caught 166 drones last year. They're aware of 434 drone incidents. They also know that they're missing some, perhaps most, drone drops. The inability to lock down technology interferes with the fundamental incarceration. Never mind the staffing problems. Wardens are afraid to give prisoners tablets because the tablets are being jailbroken. You get it? Hey, I've seen a jailbroken tablet get broken outside of jail. So just imagine in jail, they jailbreaking the tablets, right? I know. And used to run scams on people outside. Aside from digital technology, prisoners have been able to use power tools to break their door lock. How in the blue hell are power tools? Imagine a nigga inside a prison with a whole box and suitcase just full of power tools, right? That they can break their locks and get out anytime. To cut their way out their prisons to gain access to pipe chases and onto the roof of the prison, prisoners are bit by bit dismantling the prisons that hold them. According to a report, it says a hollow wall construction, wood doors, drop ceilings, providing little barrier to leaving cells or entering others. There's little effort to hold offenders accountable for their actions through the DR process. process by engaging CID for criminal prosecution for destruction of property when appropriate. The GDCP, almost all aspects of infrastructure are vandalized by the offender population. Oh, we can skip that. We know what's going on with that, right? So it continues and it says, normally almost no one, except perhaps the family members of incarcerated citizens, would base their vote for or against someone on the basis of how well they took care of their prisons. There's a significant voting bloc of sociopaths who view the indifference of the state to suffering on its watch as a positive thing to reward. But the problem in Georgia prisons is so severe and so grotesque that it has finally become a political liability. That means now the governor has to worry about it because so many bodies is dropping on his clock that he's got to figure something out. That's why he asked for like 370 something million to invest into the prisons, right? So it continues and it says, it is impossible for Kemp to be politically ambitious while Georgia prisons remain in a state. The deterioration of conditions has happened entirely on his watch. Every one of those excess debts and its formal responsibility as the constitutional officer of appointment of the head of the department. If he tries to run for the Senate for president, people like me will be reminding the police about what he should have been doing here. Perhaps he is now aware of what that will look like. The real question is whether the state legislature can finally justify loosening the purse string, if only a little, to mitigate the continuing catastrophe it has created. And let me tell you something right now. I don't know who Kemp is, the George Kemp of the Georgia, the mayor, none of that at all. I was just super interested to read like the inner workings on why the blue hell these niggas in there killing each other, and well, the side of it other than just them not liking the other people or some disrespect or killing somebody. I want to know how are the prisons allowing it to happen, and overall, I come to the conclusion that the prisons are just understaffed. That's the biggest issue. The biggest issue within the prison system is understaffedness. How you can't guard and watch something that's understaffed. You can't make sure something's not. When they say niggas is breaking out their cells using power, just imagine this: breaking out of the cell using power tools, getting on top of the roof of the prison. What in the blue hell is going on? But then again, it's okay. Why? Because there's money being made. But also seeing the fact that the feds is looking down at the states like, hey, y'all need to get that under control. It's absolutely insane to me as well. But hey, man, listen, I wanted to do this breakdown. Why? Because I found it entertaining. After we went over the Bloods and the Muslims, how they've been at war, and we went over Lonzo right and all that stuff as well, I kind of want to take a deeper dive into it. So for those who stuck around to see the deeper dive, hey, man, listen, I got more videos coming out for y'all. I want to say, hey, man, salute to y'all. Make sure y'all like the video for me. That's all I ever ask of y'all so we can get back up higher in the algorithm. Anyways, let me know something. Coming up below, let me know what you think about this entire ordeal. I'm out.